the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
When you're 0-2 in league play, you're going to have a lot of people asking questions about leadership. There are going to be a lot of people, talking about how last year was a fluke, and all these. I mean, you're going to have a lot of outside noise, a lot of outside noise. So I think next week's absolutely huge.
I agree. Last two things here real quick. First one's a quick question. Tennessee loses at home to South Carolina. True or false? Nico Iamaleava is under center after the bye, and they get him ready for the bye, and he's under center for A&M. True or false?
It depends on how you lose.
Okay.
I mean, you scored a bunch of points last year at South Carolina. You got beat because your defense couldn't find Spencer Rattlers.
Let's say you lose 27-24.
Again, I mean, but did Joe throw a touchdown or did he throw an interception? How did I mean, it just depends on how Joe plays. Obviously, this
what if he's
staff,
average? Like he's B- Joe. What if he's B- C+ Joe?
I mean, I think right now this coaching staff feels like Joe's playing better than all the fans feel like Joe's playing. Mm-hmm. Let's see how Joe plays this week. Let's see how Joe plays early in the game against. I mean, look, the South Carolina game is really, really important. If you're struggling in that game offensively, I mean, absolutely all bets are off in that game as to what could happen. Now, what we don't know because we don't get to go to practice every day is we don't know where Nico is from a preparation standpoint. How ready is he? But your head coach and your offensive coordinator are on the record multiple times in August saying we have complete faith and trust and belief in Nico if he's called upon. So hard to come back and say he's not ready when you told everybody in August he was ready because you believed in him.
So he doesn't make the same mistake twice, right? Wasn't that the big thing?
It's the thing that we've heard about. So we'll see.
It's got a strong Kelly Bryant, Trevor Lawrence feel to me this year. That's just it's like everyone's rooting for him. Everyone loves Joe. It's just quirky. It was always quirky with Kelly at Clemson, and there was just this expectation. It's really hard to be the quarterback ahead of the number one overall quarterback in the class. It's just hard.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it is. So we'll see. I mean, crazier thing. I mean, all kinds of crazy things happen in a college football season. So
can we also say that too? Do you feel like South Carolina, because it's a night game, which kind of scares me in a sense, where it kind of has an Ole Miss feel from 2 years ago, where I think because you know how fans that feel about Shane Beamer, he's a lightning rod in Knoxville. You're giving Tennessee fans all day long to tailgate and overindulge in some alcoholic beverages. I'm concerned about how that game's going to go at 7:20 because if it's remotely close, if it's something that's coming down to the end point similar to Ole Miss 2 years ago, where my gut tells me there's going to be some comments throughout the week that get this rivalry amped up just a little bit more in the previews about what South Carolina did last year and then what Tennessee did 2 years ago. I'm a little concerned about just how that goes and also curious how Joe handles it because we remember how it ended for Joe in the Ole Miss game with how much pressure there was and running out of bounds and things like that. I'm so curious how Joe handles something like that because these fans, I think Tennessee fans might hate South Carolina more than anybody else right now. And you struggle there. You talk about some loud Nico chants that we heard at Virginia, in Nashville, like how loud those guys when he came on the field. We know what it's like in the Coliseum at that point, and I was in the building when Harrison Bailey was getting some strong chants against Pitt. It's going to be a little bit different if it's a back and forth and there's some struggles against South Carolina.
Well, let's don't get to South Carolina yet. Let's see how things go on Saturday.
Oh, don't do this to me, Brent. I don't know. The podcast might go on hiatus if
I'm not saying they're going to lose the game. I'm saying how loud are the groans if they're punting early in the first quarter, if they don't make a first down, if it's a struggling start, how loud are the groans there? How does Joe handle that? How does this coaching staff handle that? Listen, I think Josh Heupel does a good job of insulating himself from outside noise. But what outside noise has he had until this week, right? I mean, it's been rose.
He's getting a crash course in this right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been rose petals at his feet for the first 2 years, right? He's done, so how does everybody react if it's a slow start on Saturday and there's loud groans in that building, which there will be if that's what happens on Saturday.
Last thing, This is my, I was getting redneck mad over the weekend, and then I hear on Volquest, I'm listening to, I think it was you who made the point, Brent, where, look, they might miss, because some fans are wondering, do you miss Alex Golesh? And like Alex Golesh obviously played Alabama really well over the weekend, so fans were feeling pretty good about that. It's not like the offense was lighting up Alabama, but Golesh was a likable figure. We knew that he was calling plays last year. It's a community effort. We get that part of it, but he was heavily involved more, I think, last year than 2 years ago, right? Like he got more trust in Heupel in the play calling up top, but it was him and Halsey up top. So Halsey could focus on the quarterback and Golesh could see everything else. The thing that we have moved on from that we overlooked, and where I got really mad, and I was just thinking about it, where I'm like, at the time, I think we may have talked about it on this program, the promotion of Alec Abelin, and we'll see what that ends up being. But you had one spot because there's a limit to how many offensive coaches you can have, and Abelin's not up in the sky. Abelin's not helping Halsey call the games. He's not seeing the field the same way that Golesh was, where there was like one opportunity to do the co-OC tight end coach hire to replace Golesh. And instead, we have the OC/quarterback coach with no one else up top to share those duties with Halsey. So Halsey's getting kind of a crash course in more like, hey, that's like Tondre Percent. That's what the money's for. You're up there. You have more responsibilities. You're the offensive coordinator. Like that promotion makes sense. But some of the names like Seth Luttrell, who was just sitting out there.